Hello, welcome to NAIFA Live. I'm your host, Zach Hewells. We have a great speaker lined up for you this morning from our host location in West Fargo, North Dakota. Some of you are joining us virtually or from one of the 15 watch locations across Iowa, Minnesota, North Dakota, and Texas. If this is your first NAIFA Live, welcome. If you're a regular, welcome back. And if you're not a NAIFA member, then an especially warm welcome to you. We hope you know that you're participating in a community that has over 25,000 people in it that care about getting to know you and that could pick up the phone at any time and you could ask them a question. We hope to see you firsthand today that our value is our people. If you want more information, talk to your watch party location host or email us at recruitment@naifa.org. Okay, great. So let's take a moment and see who's out there. Everybody wave. Hello, everyone. Welcome to your NAIFA meeting. Now, before we begin the program, I have a few housekeeping items to go over. NAIFA Live will be held every month, so please mark your calendar for the next meeting on June 20th, hosted by NAIFA Minnesota. This meeting will feature Robert Cohen presenting the gotchas and trapdoors of life insurance. Now, it is my pleasure to turn the program over to NAIFA North Dakota, where President Dan Peterson will introduce our speaker. We may have a couple of minutes, so stay tuned.
Everyone back in the room. If you could get everyone back in the room, we're about 3 minutes from going live. 3 minutes. Actually, right now on the simulcast, NAIFA National is talking to all the attendees virtually. They can't hear what we're saying at this point, but we are 3 minutes from being live. Okay, thank you. 1 minute, everyone, 1 minute. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, NAIFA. I'm Dan Peterson, president of NAIFA North Dakota. It's my great pleasure to welcome this morning to NAIFA Live and to our NAIFA North Dakota 2019 convention, Eszylfie Taylor, president and founder of the Taylor Insurance and Financial Services Group. Eszylfie is a founder and president of his company located in Pasadena, California, and serves as a financial advisor to individuals, business owners, and high net worth families. He attended Concordia University in Portland, Oregon on a basketball scholarship and graduated magna cum laude with a bachelor's degree in business management. Prior to founding his own company, he was a standout financial advisor at New York Life, finishing his career there as the highest producing advisor in the history of the African American market. During his first 2 years at New York Life, Eszylfie made approximately $55,000 and $58,000 respectively. In year 3, though, he had a breakthrough, and he nearly tripled his income from the previous year. This breakthrough centered around how to improve market and focus on solving problems, not selling products. Naturally, he built upon this and used his successes and failures as teaching tools that would contribute to the start of the Taylor method. Over the next 15 years, he broke records at New York Life and mentored countless agents, helping them find success and prosperity in business. Today, Mr. Taylor is $1 million roundtable top of the table producer, which places him in the top 1% of advisors worldwide. In 2015, he was named one of the NAIFA Advisors Today top 4 under 40 award winners. Through all of his success, Eszylfie has continued to contribute to his community. Since 2003, his nonprofit Future Stars has been holding a basketball camp for unserved youth in the community, instilling in them the tools he uses to achieve success, which are hard work, perseverance, integrity, and sacrifice. Please join me in welcoming to the stage, to the great state of North Dakota, Eszylfie Taylor.
Thank you, Sergeant. Awesome. How you guys doing today? Good? You know how I'm doing today? It's the best day of my life. Every day when people ask me how I'm doing, literally every day I say it's the best day of my life. So I'm gonna try it on you guys. How you doing today? How you doing today? Best day of your life, right? You woke up this morning, you made it here safely, you get to listen to me for the next 2 hours. I don't know if life gets better than that, does it? Now, you might be wondering why I'm standing up here or limping up here I tore my Achilles tendon, okay, kind of thing. You should see the other guy, though. It didn't end up pretty for him. No, I was playing basketball and tore my Achilles tendon. Father time is undefeated, right? So I'm officially retired now at this point. But I feel so blessed to be here today. For those of you here live in the audience and those watching in your offices, my story is a simple one. Been in this business now 19 years. Can you believe that? 19 years for me? I know I was 12 when I started. I look good, right? Black don't crack. Remember that. But 19 years in this business, and I stand before you today, arguably the biggest failure you have ever met. I challenge you to present someone to me who's failed more than me. I mean, I have failed countless times. Every way you could mess up a deal, I messed it up. Every way you could lose a case, I lost it once, and I learned from it and got a little bit better, right? So I'm going to share my story with you today. It's a simple one, right? How did I go from making $50,000 a year to $50,000 a week? You ready? All right, so one thing I'm going to share with you guys, so you guys are all familiar with LinkedIn, the social media app, business app. Last year, LinkedIn chose myself and my company to feature in their very first national commercial campaign, and I'm going to share that with you guys here briefly. When I graduated college, I made a promise to myself that I'd never look back one day at my life and say, what if? What if I'd have tried a little bit harder? What if I'd have taken that chance? What if I'd have opened that door? So my father's from Ghana, West Africa, right? Scholarly guy, PhD, doctor. And when I said, hey, I'm graduating, I think I'm gonna become a financial advisor. And he goes, what is that? And how do you get paid? He thought I was a fool. I thought to myself, you know, I can't explain it, and I can't tell you how it's going to work, but I believe it's going to work. It's all about perception, and even in failure, what can I learn from that? How can I grow from that? Failure to me is just this opportunity to learn and grow and get better. Hey, right.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. I tell even my children now, it's not about the outcome, it's not about what you get, it's about putting everything into what you're doing. And if you do that, if you give everything, then that's all I worry about. Sports have always been a big part of my life. The game of basketball in particular, because basketball parallels life, and it's like, don't ever give up. Sports represents hard work, perseverance, learning how to win, learning how to lose, learning how to work with a team, and that paralleled into success in business, because a lot of those traits are very much the same. I believe that relationships are the lifeblood of business, right? It doesn't matter how smart you are, it doesn't matter what company you work for, it doesn't matter what product you're selling. People do not know, like, and trust you, they're not doing business with you. So I just spend all of my time really working to strengthen relationships with people.
But as I continue to grow my practice, I found LinkedIn to be a very useful tool. Use LinkedIn for that connectivity and that opportunity to touch people. I would have never met that school teacher in New Jersey. I would have never met that contractor in Dallas, Texas, right? It's that constant connectivity. That's been tremendous for me in life and business. My name is Eszylfie. I am a financial advisor and I own an insurance and financial services practice here in Pasadena, California. The impact and the depth of a relationship, that's what dictates success.
I think that commercial goes a long way in embodying who I am as a father and as a businessman. So glad I could share that with you guys. So failure is not an option is the title of my talk today. And everything that I say, everything that I do, everything that I've learned over the course of my 19-year career, I'm going to share with you guys today as much as I can. Right? So I had a dream, right? So that's me as a kid, cute kid, right? Right? So quick story. You guys remember the novel in the 70s written by Alex Haley Roots? You guys remember that? And they did a mini series, right? You guys remember that? And in that mini series, in Roots Part 2, they held up a baby in that. That was me. Yeah, no, actually, some of my best work. But that was me, right? So it's child star, and then the natural progression from that is to become a financial advisor, right? So that's the next thing that I did, right? So I had a dream. So I'm 22 years old, and I'm about to graduate college, and I have one simple, modest goal at that time. And that was to become a millionaire by the time I was 25, right? And I figured 3 years was ample time to get there, right? Challenge is, I didn't know how I was going to do it, right? You heard in that commercial, my father is a doctor, right? My mom works for the federal government. So my parents were employees, right? So there was no entrepreneurial path laid out for me. There was no plan, if you will. I had to figure it out on my own, right? So I figured it'd be a good idea if I got a mentor, get someone who could show me the ropes, tell me what it takes to be successful, right? So I went to school again in Portland, Oregon, met a really successful guy in the community, multimillionaire, and I asked him if we could get together and go to lunch and allow me to pick his brain and see, again, what does it take to be successful? So he agreed. So he comes to my school, and we're engaging, and we're talking, and he's telling me his story and how he amassed his wealth, right? And then after a few minutes, he starts asking me about myself and the things I want to accomplish. And a few minutes goes by, and he goes, you know what? He goes, you know what, kid? He goes, you're special. And I'm like, I know, right? And he says, you're going to do big things. And I'm like, he sees it too. And he said, you know, you work hard for 30, 40 years. You're going to be somebody, right? And I said, check, please, right? You can't tell a 22-year-old they have to work twice as long as they've been alive to be successful. That didn't resonate with me. By chance, I found my way into this wonderful world of financial services, and immediately I took to it because I realized we're paid for our work ethic and our aptitude, not our age and our tenure, right? So started in my career, as mentioned in my bio, started at New York Life. I didn't know what the heck I was doing, right? I was asked in the interviewing process, you want to be a financial advisor? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, what is that, right? But the one thing that I was told is that advisors who succeed in this business will write a minimum of 10 applications a month. That was my charge, right? 10 applications every single month, right? And I'm a competitor. I'm an athlete, so I was with the challenge. My first month in the business, you know what I did? Over 10 applications. Second month, over 10. Third, fourth, 6 straight months, over 10 applications every single month. I'm off to a pretty good start, right? Now, I run into a little bit of a snag in my 7th month. In my 7th month, I've got 7 applications in, 1 business day to go. Don't worry, I had a meeting that night, husband, wife, child, cutting it close, right? But I'm going to get to my 10 a month, right? So I go to my meeting, 7 o'clock meeting, walk up to the house, knock on the door. No one's answering the door. Knock a little bit louder. Still nothing, right? Now, boom, boom, I'm pounding on the door, right? And now I'm looking through the windows. Do I see shadows? Is there movement? Do I see anything, right? Are they home? Just starting to dodge me, right? Nothing, right? So I pick up my cell phone. This is 2000, so my cell phone's a little bigger back then. So I pick up my cell phone, right? Dial the number. Phone rings, goes to voicemail. They're not home, right? Now, remember at the start of your career when you wouldn't call to confirm your appointments? For fear when you called to confirm, they would cancel, so you would just show up, right? Well, that's what I did, and it didn't work out for me. They weren't home. They forgot. So dejected, I walk back to my car, sit down, and I'm racking my brain, right? I'm like, who else can I call? What else can I do? But this is it, right? I'm new in the business. All my eggs were in this basket, right? And then a thought goes through my mind, guys. I think to myself, you know what? Dude, they live here and they have to come home sometime, right? But I don't want to be creepy and wait out front. So I drove around the corner. And 5 minutes became 10 minutes, became 20 minutes, became an hour. And I literally just reclined my seat back and I started looking up at the stars. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? This family's going to come home tonight. I'm going to go in this house and I'm going to write 3 applications and I'm going to get to 10 a month. And one day, many years from now, I'm going to be standing in a room full of people telling them this very story, and it's going to be amazing. And no sooner than that thought went through my mind did the couple pull into the driveway, right? Now, I don't want to be too hasty. I'm going to let them, get in and get settled, right? So I waited a few minutes. So I drive back up to the house, knock on the door. Wife answers the door. Eszylfie, hey, what? Did we have a meeting tonight? Did we forget? I said, don't worry about it. I was in the area. You're here. I'm here. Let's just meet. I went in the house that night, and I took those 3 applications. I got to my 10 a month. So here's my question for you. How many of you would have done what I did that night? Gone stalker mode, right? How many of you would have simply gone home, right? Now, if your answer is, I would have gone home. That's the reasonable thing to do. You go to someone's house for an appointment, they're not there, you go home. But by the sheer fact that you're in this business, you're not right in the head. Something's wrong with you, right? That's one thing. So you have to embrace that. You see, greatness is not an accident. Everyone wants to be successful until they see what it takes, right? And I love this photo, right? You've got the ballerina here with the pointed stance on the left, right? And the beautiful wrap, so elegant. But the reality is the foot on the right? With the calluses and the bandages and the bloody toes, right? Because that's this business, right? This business is like getting kicked in the face every day, isn't it? Right? Imagine every single day you walk into the office, as soon as you open the door, your manager just kicks you in the face, right? Every day, right? For a month. And at the end of the month, you were given a check for $3,000. You take that check and go, man, I don't like this business very much, right? Now envision this scenario, same thing. You walk in the office every single day, walk in the morning, your manager kicks you in the face, right? And at the end of the month, you were given a check for $100,000. You take that check and go, all right, make it quick, right? Why do I say that? I don't face any fewer frustrations with clients, underwriting challenges, regulatory issues, product changes than you. We're all in the same boat, right? I just make a lot of money, so I deal with it, right? It's like the game of football. And the game of football, wide receiver's running down the field. Quarterback throws him the ball. Wide receiver goes up to catch the ball. And what does he see out of the corner of his eye? A defensive player. And there's a choice. He can go up and catch the ball, or he can protect himself. Either way, what's going to happen? He's going to get hit. Either way, he's going to get hit. So this is my charge to you. If you're going to be in this business, and if you're going to wake up early, and you're going to stay up late, and you're going to sacrifice your life, your time, your family, right? Your sanity, right? Catch the ball. Catch the ball. If you're going to get hit, catch the ball. Make it worthwhile. Right? You see, I don't believe in winning and losing. I believe in winning and learning. And we're always getting better, right? And you can't shy away from that. You can't shy away from the contact. You can't be afraid to get hit in the face. On the contrary, guys, I want you to look to fail so big. Fail so big. The only difference between failures and successful people is successful people have simply failed more. It's all a matter of resilience, right? It's like the Chinese proverb, fall down 7 times, stand up 8. So some of my achievements in the industry, what qualifies me to be up here today? And if you haven't picked up on this already, humility is not my strongest attribute, so indulge me for a moment there. So like I said, started in the business 2000. And again, I'm the poster boy for I was new, 22 years old, didn't know what I was doing. I was given a system. I took it and I ran with it, right? So as a result, I'm a life and qualifying member of MDRT, NAIFA LA Agent of the Year 2009 to 2012, top of the table producer. To put that in perspective, there's about 1,500 top of the table producers in the entire world. I'm one of them. How's it going? 2013, launched my own independent firm, Taylor Insurance and Financial Services, based in Pasadena, California. And then 2015, one of the greatest honors I've received to date, I received the NAIFA 4 Under 40 award. You guys see that magazine? I was like my blue still look, looking off to the side. You didn't see it? I'll get you a copy. In 2015, again, I also released the Taylor Method. Taylor Method, again, is the culmination of my career's triumphs and failures. Everything that I say, everything that I do, everything that I've learned, I put online for you. You're welcome. So let's look at the current state of our industry. Most of the nation's 300,000 plus financial advisors are over the age of 50. Less than 5% are under the age of 30. Every year for the next 10 years, 10 to 12,000 financial advisors are going to retire, and the rate of replacement just simply isn't keeping pace. The Department of Labor, Bureau of Labor Statistics, predicts that personal financial advisor jobs will be amongst one of the fastest growing jobs in terms of the need, right, in our country. So we have to seize the opportunity. A large number of US adults, nearly 40%, have no life insurance at all. None. 85% of consumers agree that people need life insurance, yet again, nearly 40% don't have it, right? And one of the things I say in the Taylor Method is, I don't have to be perfect, I just have to be better than what you have. And I'm pretty confident I can beat nothing. I'm pretty sure I can beat that, right? You guys want some language to sell a life insurance policy every single day? Yes, one of you? Yeah? Yeah? You at home? Yeah? Okay, write this down as your first takeaway for the day. I'm gonna give you my need-based close. It is a 3-question close. 3-question close. My need-based sale, okay? Question number 1. If you didn't come home tomorrow, what would happen to your family? If you didn't come home tomorrow, what would happen to your family? If you're working in the business market, swap out family to your business. If you didn't come home tomorrow, what would happen to your family? Question number 2, how does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? Question number 3, how much money can you comfortably set aside on a monthly basis to solve this problem? How much money can you comfortably set aside on a monthly basis to solve this problem? All right, let's test this out. Ryan, how's it going, brother? Good. It's the best day of my life. Okay, Ryan, let's assume for one moment here, you are in this 40% of people. You have no life insurance at all. Okay, you're married? Yep, children? How old are your children? 17, 9, and 7. So married, a 17-year-old, 9, and 7. Okay. Assuming you were in this 40%, you had no life insurance. If you didn't come home tomorrow, what would happen to your family? You don't know, right? How does it make you feel that you don't know what would happen to them? Makes you feel awful. How much money can you set aside on a monthly basis to solve this problem, to protect your family so you don't feel awful anymore? $500. It didn't matter whether he said 500, 1,000, 2,000, 500. I have a sale. Did I mention a product? Did I mention a carrier? Of little consequence, right? I disturbed him and I got a premium commitment. And I love taking someone's monthly premium commitment and breaking it down to the day. It makes it even more palatable, right? So if I'm hearing you properly, Ryan, you're saying you can set aside, what, about $17 a day to protect your family? Wow, how noble of you. Wow. Right? That's it. It's really that simple. I don't know if that takes me about 30 seconds. Right? Ryan, if I was the very last financial advisor, the very last insurance agent ever to talk to you about buying life insurance to protect your family, would you buy from me today? Yes? How do you know that I'm not? Sometimes I want to buy from myself, and I'm like, man, you have so many policies already, right? Eszylfie, I mean, you want me to say, I can't say that. Why? Why can you not say that? What are you afraid of? They're not going to buy. Okay? Guys, we must be bold. Be bold. Here's my contention. The only thing that comes in life from putting yourself out there, the only thing that comes from taking a chance is something good. Either you're going to get something you didn't have or continue not to have what you didn't have anyways. That makes sense. But you have to be bold, guys. If you saw me walking blindfolded towards a cliff, right? Would you say, hey, Eszylfie, don't do that, right? Or would you say, hey, stop, you are going the wrong way? You see, we sell an intangible good. We sell ideas. We sell peace of mind. And if you don't believe it, your clients aren't going to believe it, right? I'm not from this area. I'm not from Fargo, North Dakota. So if I was going to the airport, guys, which way would I go? Where's the airport? Give me a point in the direction. About this way? Okay. So if you walked up to someone and said, hey, I'm not from the area, where's the airport? How do I get to the airport? And they said, it's about 8 miles, go that way, right? What would you do? You'd ask somebody else, right? And if the next person said, 10 miles that way, 10 miles, you'll see it on your right-hand side, what would you do? You would get in your car and you would drive 10 miles the wrong way, right? Simply because those directions were given with conviction and belief. So it's not only the value, right, and the power of what we do. I don't think any of us question that, right? But it's the conviction, right, and the power and the belief behind what you're saying. Does that make sense? Right? Now, some of you might say, you know, but Eszylfie, I mean, I'm dealing with clients, they've done some planning, right? Here's another takeaway. You can write this down, right? Because let's assume if 40% of people don't have insurance, that means 60% of people do. So one of the most disalarming phrases I use in my practice is, I will never undo any of the good work that you've done. I will never undo any of the good work that you've done. Because if someone says, well, I've got life insurance. Because Ryan might say, I'm not irresponsible, Eszylfie. I've got kids, right? And family and a mortgage. I'm not 40%, right? I'm sorry, Ryan, you have life insurance. How much coverage do you have? 300,000 executive benefits. Wow, okay, 300,000. So Ryan, how much money does your family need on an annual basis to be comfortable, to cover their bills? 100 grand, right? So if I'm hearing you, Ryan, you're saying with the $300,000 of coverage you have, right? You've replaced 3 years of your income. 3 years, right? So when your 17-year-old is 20, and your 9-year-old is 12, and your 7-year-old is 10, and the money runs out, then what happens? Right? You don't know. Right? Is that what you want, Ryan? No. Okay, great. Let's get started. Let's get started, guys, is my closing language. Let's get started lets me know where I'm at, right? Have you ever been in an appointment and thought to yourself, man, this is going good, right? I got them. Like, I'm going for it, man. I'm going for the close, right? And you go out and you pull an application, your car smacks you on the hand. Hey, you're moving too fast. Like, sorry, right? Or better yet, you've been in an appointment and you're going, I feel like this is going well. I mean, I feel like I got them, but yeah, man, I want to push it. You know, I'm going to book an appointment next week. I'll come back next week and I'll close it then. And then book an appointment for next week and then never see that person ever again. Was that has only happened to me? Right? Or they honor that second appointment. You go back the next week and you just end up repeating all the things you said in the first appointment. You see, in my opinion, a need-based sale is a one appointment close. One appointment close. Why? Ryan, is the impact of your loss to your family going to be greater next week than it is this week? Is your premium commitment, is your budget going to be different next week than this week? No. So why should I come back? Right? Matter of fact, Ryan, I don't even feel comfortable having you walk out of my office today unprotected. Right? Now some of you are like, come, but Eszylfie. I mean, you didn't even show him an illustration. An illustration for what? So he can see how compelling 20 years of level premium with no cash value looks. He needed to see that. I'd about a 7-year stretch in my career. I sold over 200 policies a year, never once used an illustration. Why? Right? Again, because it's not illustrations and concept papers that sell people. It's you. You have never been in a meeting like, this isn't going well, and giving your client a product brochure and have them go, whoa, wait, this changes everything, right? This is nice. What is this, semi-gloss? The semi-gloss, right? It's you that they buy. It's your belief, right? It's your ability to connect with them. Make sense? There's an estimated $15.3 trillion unmet life insurance need in our country. 15.3 trillion. And I'm doing my damnedest, guys, to write as much as I can, but I need your help, right? So again, we got to seize the opportunity. This scene right here is from the movie Forrest Gump, right? And if you recall in that movie, Forrest Gump embarks upon this journey of being a shrimp boat captain, right? And so he's out in the waters and he's casting his net and he's pulling up a couple shrimp at a time. He's not doing too well. Probably like many of us when we started in the business, right? We're casting our net and we're like, I don't know if this is for me, right? But if you recall in the movie, there's a big storm that comes, right? And wipes out all of the boats in the area with the exception of his, right? Then being a shrimp boat captain was kind of easy. Every time he casts his net, he's pulling up bountiful loads of shrimp. So my contention is this is exactly where we're at in the business today. Why? Look at the stats. What's happening to our agency force, our advisory force out there? It's shrinking, right? What's happening to our nation's population? It's growing, right? There's a $15.3 trillion unmet life insurance need. Fewer families own life insurance today than any point in our country's history, right? The baby boomers are retiring and grows, right? Well, it's estimated someone's turning 65 years old every single minute in our country, right? There's an estimated $41 trillion of wealth that's going to transfer from this generation to the next. So let me get this straight. Fewer people that do what we do, more people now than ever, fewer people own insurance now than ever, more money's going to be changing hands from this generation to the next. More than ever. I like my chances, right? We just have to get out there and tell our story. You must be bold. Just open your mouth, guys. A broken clock is right twice a day. That will sink in later. That's early, right? Be bold. So many of us are waiting, right, for our opportunity. We're waiting, right, for things to happen, right? And they're not just going to happen. I love the quote by Milton Berle, right? If opportunity doesn't knock, then build the door, right? You make it happen. So life insurance and your mindset. Permanent life insurance is the only insurance product you buy that I guarantee you'll use. I guarantee you're going to pull out tax-free money or die, for sure. And when you consider how much money people spend on car insurance, homeowners insurance, liability insurance, right? All these other forms of insurance that are good, right? But they may or may not use them. Doesn't it make sense to insure, right, the one product you're going to use? And this is this idea, guys, of human capital. This is going back to my need-based sale, human capital. Human capital is the present value of one's future income. The present value of one's future income. So simple calculation, write this one down. Take the amount of money someone needs on an annual basis to maintain their standard of living. Ryan said he needed $100,000 a year to cover the bills for the family. 100,000, take that number, whatever that is, and multiply it by 20. That's the need amount. 100,000 times 20 is $2 million. That's how much coverage Ryan needs, $2 million. Why? Because a 5% payout rate on $2 million would generate $100,000 of income in perpetuity, thus replacing his income. That's his amount, right? So we're selling people short, guys, when we're letting this person think the $300,000 policy he has to employer is sufficient, because it's not, right? 3 years of his income. If you owned $1 million home, would you insure it for $300,000? Right? So why are we letting people that make $100,000 a year have $300,000 of life insurance and giving them any inkling that they're okay? Right? None of us, guys, are getting out of here alive. Right? So it's not, well, should I use it or am I going to? Yes, you're going to use it. I guarantee you're going to pull out money or die. Yes, for sure. Right? Relaying the value proposition. Who really needs who? Who really needs who? Now, there's this overwhelming consensus by people out in the community. Oh, you're in the insurance business, so you get commissions. Oh, I know what you're trying to do, right? But here's my content. Nothing could be further from the truth, okay? Who really needs who? Consider this. I was told when I came into this business, you have arrived in this business when you can fire a client. I used to say, fire a client? I'm fired. That's my livelihood. Fire a client. I mean, my client would have to do some unspeakable things to me to fire them. And even then, I'd probably forgive them. Maybe they're just having a bad day, right? I mean, Mike Tyson could be my client. It could be me, my mom, and Mike Tyson sitting in the room. And Mike Tyson could rear back and smack my mom in the face. And I go, hey, Mom, what did you say to him to get him so upset, right? I'm sorry, Mike. Right? But why? Why do we take this ridicule? Why do we take this abuse? Think about it. When you do a deal, what's your average commission when you do a deal? What do you make? Anybody? I hope you sell something. What? $500, $1,000, $2,000? Now imagine for one moment that sale fell apart, right? Client changed their mind, case was declined, what have you. If that happens, do you need to shut down your business? Do you have to sell your home? Do you pull your kids out of school? Right? No, right? You just pick up the phone and try and get another case. But look at the impact of the work that you do in your clients' lives. You see, if they don't buy that policy from you, if they don't do the planning with you and calamity hits, they do need to shut down their business. They do need to sell their house. They do need to pull their kids out of school. So who needs who? Any deal you do represents maybe 1% of your income. Yet the work we do represents 100% of our clients' income. Nobody is doing you a favor when they come into your office. Nobody is doing you a favor when they allow you into their home. On the contrary, you're doing them a favor. I literally walk in the office in the morning, clients in my lobby, my hands out. It's okay, my child, I'm here now. Right? You're welcome. Because in times of need, in times of calamity, everybody else will have their hands out. And we'll be, see guys, there's no better time to be in this business than right now. We are so uniquely positioned, right? The wirehouse guys, they don't do what we do, right? Volatility in the markets, right? Clients watching their 401ks become 201ks, right? And the bankers don't have solutions. What do they have? You go to the bank and put your money in a CD. You guys know what CDs are, right? Certificates of depreciation. You buy one of those, right? We offer guarantees of principal. We offer guarantees of income. We protect families. We protect businesses. We are uniquely positioned, okay? So you should have the confidence in knowing, right? Do you believe, right? Do you believe you can help every single person you see? Do you believe it, right? If you're shaking your head or you're not sure, you're in the wrong business, guys, right? There's two belief conflicts you need to overcome. Belief conflict number one is belief in yourself. Do you believe that you can help every single person you see? And the answer should resoundingly be yes. Every single person you see, you can help. Overcome that, and then the second one is then you got to get your clients to buy in, right? Legacy, your great-grandfather. By a show of hands, who could tell me their great-grandfather's name? By a show of hands. Great-grandfather. Okay? About 10% of the room. For those of you that did not raise your hand, you want to know why you don't know who your great-grandfather is? It's because you weren't left anything. Right? If your last name was Kennedy or Rockefeller, you would know, right? Good old Uncle Charlie, he was a great man, wasn't he? Right? But think of the power of the work that we do. We sell instant legacies in a box, just press print with an application and check for first month's premium, right? We could literally create multi-million-dollar estates, right? Now, this next one was a huge catalyst for my career. Focus on being a problem solver rather than a product seller, right? Problem solver. Here's some language I invite you to open your meetings with. I'm going to share the most revolutionary sales idea you have ever heard before. Write this one down. If you ask people what they want, they will tell you. And when you give it to them, they will buy it. It's like crazy, right? And here's what I mean by that. And oh, that sounds simple enough. But we do not do it. We lead with our bias. We lead with our agenda. We lead with our initiatives. And if you would simply stop, I invite you to start your meetings with something like this. Mr. Client, Mrs. Client, I appreciate you coming into my office today. What was it that you hope we'd accomplish today? What? Crazy. And then the craziest thing will happen. They'll tell you like what they want. It's like the craziest thing, right? Well, I was concerned with running out of money in retirement. Well, I was concerned with college planning for my child. Well, I was concerned with succession planning for my business, right? And when we meet them at their level, identify, okay, these are the things that are important to you, and then give them plans and solutions that speak to that issue. Wow, they do it. I don't know, it's life-changing. Try it, right? A broken clock is right twice a day, right? I said that one. So it's a matter of being in front of people, right? But also, if the only tool in your tool belt is a hammer, then everything looks like a nail. So if you're going in selling a product, you're going to miss the boat, right? People buy life insurance for one of two reasons: need or greed. I gave you an example of my need-based sale, that human capital sale. Take the amount of money that someone needs on an annual basis to replace their income, multiply it by 20. I mean, here's an exercise for you. Take your top 20 clients, right? Look at their fact finder, call them up, what have you, and ask them, what does your family need on an annual basis to maintain their standard of living? What is it? You take that number and you multiply it by 20, I guarantee you 90% plus of your book of business is underinsured. Right? Need-based sale, human capital, present value of your future income. Now, my greed-based sale, selling life insurance as an asset class, right? Quite simply, when most people think of insurance, what do they want? They want the biggest benefit they can get for the least premium. When I'm selling life insurance as an asset class, completely opposite objective. I'm trying to cram the most premium I can into the smallest policy to maximize the internal rate of return, right? To maximize what comes out. There's a few concepts that are powerful here, right? First, we have to look at the landscape of taxation, right? Question for you guys. Do you think in the future income tax rates are going up or income tax rates are going down? What do you think? Up. All indications are they're going to go up and continue to go up, right? Well, consider traditional retirement accounts. In a traditional retirement account, you're deducting your contributions today in a tax environment where we all believe taxes are lower. You are growing a chunk of money that has never been taxed, only to draw out larger sums of income in the future when income tax rates are higher. Does that make sense? Wouldn't it make sense, at least with a portion of your portfolio, to pay taxes on the seed and draw the harvest tax-free? Or let me put another way. Would you rather deduct $1 of income today and draw $4 out tax-free? Or would you rather pay taxes on $1 today? I'm sorry, would you rather deduct $1 of income today and pay taxes on $4 in the future? Deduct $1 today, pay taxes on $4 in the future? Or would you rather pay taxes on $1 today and draw $4 tax-free? What would you rather do? Right? The latter. Right? So there's some limitations. So I call this the rich man's Roth IRA, right? So there's some limitations you have with the Roth. Well, you have income limitations. What, over $120,000 or so filing single, you're phased out. 180 or so filing joint, you're phased out. Right? So the rich man's Roth IRA. I want to get you to cram the most premium we can into the smallest policy. Another powerful concept, because if you look, there's something called IRR, internal rate of return, right? And structured properly, you can get the internal rate of return even in a basic whole life policy upwards of 5%. Now, someone might go, 5%, is that really that good? Yeah, it's really good when you consider this concept called tax equivalent yield. Tax equivalent yield, what does that mean? That means if I net 5% of my money, what does my pre-tax return need to be to after-tax net 5? Now, I live in California, right? I graciously pay the sun tax, right? I'm essentially in a 50% tax bracket. So if I net 5% of my money, what does my pre-tax return need to be? 10, right? I need to make 10% pre-tax to pay tax and net 5. So here's what I tell clients. I hope if you buy this policy from me, I hope it ends up being the worst performing asset class in your portfolio. Eszylfie, you want me to tell my clients that I hope what I sell them ends up being the worst performing asset class in their portfolio? Yep. Because if the worst performing asset class in your portfolio gives you the equivalent yield of 10%, right? Pre-tax return, right? And that ends up being the worst performing asset class in your portfolio, you've done very well for yourself, right? So here's how we determine how much should go into life insurance, right? Powerful question to ask people, right? As you build your retirement plan and start putting money away for your future, how much of your money do you not want to lose? How much of your income in the future do you want guaranteed? How much of your income do you not want subject to stock market risk, real estate risk, or business risk? The 3 asset classes you're going to get the yeah but to, right? So I'm not competing against equities alone. I'm not competing against real estate. I'm not competing against your business. Matter of fact, I acquiesce. I hope all of those investments outperform because I'm sure the stock market's never going to have a correction, right? I'm sure you're never going to have any deferred maintenance issues or problems with your tenants. And yes, I'm sure private equity is going to come in and give you $10 million for your dry cleaning business. I'm sure that will all happen, right? And if it doesn't, I've got this boring, plain old vanilla plan over here, compounding interest, growing tax deferred, giving you tax-free distributions at a tax equivalent yield of 8 to 10%, depending on your income where you live in the country, right? You see, Mr. Client, you see, Mrs. Client, I want you to be here or better, not here or here. Does it make sense? Great. Let's get started. Again, let's get started. Lets me know where I'm at. If I say, let's get started, and they say, okay, pull out your application. If I say, let's get started, and they have questions or concerns or want to bring something up, it gives them a forum to do so. Sense? Life insurance is sold, not bought. I mean, I long for the day that I come into my office with a line of people around the corner like, when do you guys open? Right? Black Friday, 2 policies for 1, right? Doesn't happen. Matter of fact, on the contrary, when someone calls you and goes, hey, can I get that life insurance? You're typically like, uh-oh, right? What happened? Right? Why? Because people don't wake up in the morning like, what I'm going to do today? I'm going to bump up my life insurance, rebalance my investment portfolio, update my trust. They don't do it, right? Now, people know they should, right? But they don't. It's incumbent upon us to get up and tell that story. Highlight the value proposition of what we do, not the product itself, right? Brian, what's your favorite candy bar? Snickers, right? So Snickers bar is what? Is the brown wrapper with the white and blue writing? Brian, if Snickers changed your whole marketing strategy and went to a gold wrapper with red writing, would you like Snickers bars any less? Absolutely not, right? Why? Because Brian never bought the Snickers bar for the wrapper. He bought it for what's inside, for what it does. And it's the same thing with our products. You ever have a client tell you, I don't like life insurance. I don't like life insurance. You don't have to like it. See, I don't believe in life insurance. It's not a religion. I don't know what to tell you, right? Let me ask you a question. Do you like tax-deferred growth? Do you like tax-free distributions? Would you like a non-correlated asset class integrated into your investment portfolio? Oh, yeah, sounds nice, right? Right? Focus on the value proposition of what we do, not the names, right? I had a client come into my office one time. She had about $500,000 in one of those certificates of depreciation at the bank. And so I sold her a simple fixed annuity, right? 3% return over the 1% she was getting at the time, right? So she comes back into my office the next week and she goes, you know what, Eszylfie, I'm not going to do this. And I said, okay, well, what's going on? She said, I talked to my banker and my banker said an annuity is not for me. Not for me. And I said, okay. I said, let me ask you a few questions. Would you rather earn 3% on your money or 1%? She said 3%. I said, would you rather have tax-deferred growth or taxable growth? She said tax-deferred growth. I said, do you want a guarantee of your principal? She said, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Right? So she got so caught up in the name and lost value, right? The underlying value proposition, right? So focus on that. When people ask me, what do I do for a living? I quite simply say, I solve problems. That's what I do for a living. I don't sell products. So don't fall into those traps. What do you got for me today, right? And be obliged, well, you will see that my company was established in 1845. And stop doing that, please, right? I have no products to sell you, right? Your needs, your risk tolerance, your time horizon, that's what's going to dictate the plan. Simple language they use in my sales talk, right? Mr. Client, Mrs. Client, I want to identify where you are today. More importantly, figure out where you want to be in the future. And I'm going to develop an action plan to help you bridge that gap. How's that sound to you? Great. Let's get started. Right? You see, you can't object to me because they're your answers, right? So at the end of the day, you're either going to do what I tell you to do or contradict yourself. Now, interestingly enough, some people will contradict themselves, right? But if you can go into every single meeting, meeting people at their level, peeling back the layers, finding out where they want to be and then give them solutions to solve their problems, right? You're going to come out ahead more times than not. The Tale of Two Widows. By a show of hands, how many of you have delivered a death claim in your career? Right? The business changes at that point, doesn't it? Right? Because again, we're selling these ideas and these concepts, right? And when you actually hand a check to somebody, it changes things, right? Now, those of you who have delivered a death claim, have you ever delivered a death claim and thought to yourself, I gave them too much, it's too much, right? On the contrary, I'm sure you thought, geez, I wish I had actually written more, right? And I've been at funerals where there was no planning, right? It's horrible. You know, you've got the no life insurance, you got the widow there in the front pew slumped over, dress wrinkled, hair disheveled, right? Mascara running down her face, literally inconsolable, having to be propped up by family, and it's horrible. And you look at that situation and go, well, I wish I could do something, but it's done at that point, right? I've also been at funerals where the planning was impeccable, trust in place, plenty of life insurance, and the widow's sitting in the front pew, right? But it's a little different scene. You know, she's in the front pew, sitting up, right? Nice dress press, hair's in a bun, handkerchief, right? Right? Peace of mind. Now, we cannot replace fathers and mothers. We cannot replace husbands and wives. But we can make sure that the money they would have brought to the table will be there, right? And like I was saying earlier, we are uniquely positioned because in times of calamity, right, in times of need, everyone else still has their hands out, right? I'm so sorry for your loss, but it is the first, right? We're the only ones that come delivering value. Don't lose sight of that. So Taylor method, what is it? Broken into these 4 simple pillars. First, we have the approach. The approach. What do I say to get in front of people? It's all about the at-bats, right? This business is very much like the game of baseball, isn't it? Right? What do I mean by that? A baseball player who gets to bat, right, and hits 300 for the season will probably be an all-star, right? Matter of fact, if you hit 300 for your career, you probably make the Hall of Fame. But when you look at that in actuality, what does that mean? That means this person's actually failing 70% of the time. I mean, I wish that were true when I was in school. I wish I could come home like, Mom, 30% on my test today. I know, right? Right? But it's true in this business that if we bat 300, we're going to do pretty good. So for me, it's all about seeing the people. So a few things that I preach, right? Personal observation, big part of what I do. A lot of us make the mistake of thinking when I'm in my suit and in my tie, right? I'm in my dress, right? Then I'm working. No, you are working when you are building relationships with people. As long as I'm engaging people, I am working. God forbid you sit next to me on the plane, right? By the time we land, about life insurance, I'll roll over your money, right? Right? It's all about connection. You know, you saw in that commercial, I've got 3 daughters, right? My oldest daughter's 12 and I've got twins who are 9. I used to pray to God that he'd send girls to hang all over me, and he took me literally and was like, here you go, there's 3 of them. Right? So be careful what you ask for. He's listening. Right? So my house, Friday night's date night, right? My girls go out, you know, take them to the movies, dinner, open the door for them, show her this is how a man treats a lady, right? We typically will follow that up Saturday mornings, a little jaunt to the park. So my girls are running around, right? My oldest daughter, her name's Naya. So I say, Naya, come here. She says, yeah, Daddy. I said, go play with that kid. Her parents look like they have money. Why are you laughing? I made $250,000 at the park last year, right? Why, right? Because I live in Southern California. It's expensive to live there, right? My girls go to a private school, and that school is expensive. I have to pay a lot for them to go to that school. That means the other parents have to pay a lot for their kids to go to that school. That means they can afford big annual premiums, right? But I say that all to say, whether it be your children, whether it be your church, whether it be basketball, golf, book club, philanthropic organization, right? As long as you're with people and developing relationships, you are working. You see, if I don't close a deal, if I present a solution to a client and they don't buy, I never go, man, I need to create a new iteration of this plan, or, oh man, I need to, do a different illustration. I don't. The first thing I think if I don't close a deal is the relationship isn't strong enough. And I go back to strengthening the relationship. Think about it. When your best friend says, I saw a great movie last night, you should go. What do? You go. You should check out that new restaurant in town. It's awesome. You should go. What do? You go. Right? So for me, it's about these relationships. Right? So that's the approach. It's all about the at-bat. So you've got personal observation, right? Seeing people. You've got referrals, right? Super important. Referral talk, right? I'm gonna give you two exercises real quick here. One, understand this as it relates to seeing people. You're going to make as much money as your clients make. If your clients are broke and live paycheck to paycheck, you will be broke and live paycheck to paycheck. If your clients make $100,000 a year, you'll make $100,000 a year, right? Your clients make $1 million a year, you'll make $1 million a year, right? So in getting names, so referrals, I don't want just names, I want to get the right names, right? So first exercise, I'm going to give you this idea of prospecting up, right? I started the fry cook at McDonald's, right? I write a $50 a month policy, right? Now, if I ask him for a referral straight away, who's he going to refer me to? The guy flipping burgers, I'm gonna write another $50 a month policy that's gonna lapse, right, in a year, right? So I wanna ask this specific question, write this down. Who do you look up to for their financial accomplishments? Who do you look up to for their financial accomplishments? Well, I mean, the shift manager makes $20 an hour. Okay, great. Next thing you know, I write a $100 a month policy. Same question, who do you look up to for their financial accomplishments, right? Oh, I mean, the district manager makes over $100,000 a year. Wow, okay. Next thing you know, I write a $500 a month policy. Same question, who do you look up to for their financial accomplishments? And the franchisee owner has 12 locations in the city. Wow, next thing you know, I write a $250,000 annual premium on their yacht at a charity event. True story. Prospect up. Prospect up until the people you are seeing are making the money you want to make. Last exercise with referrals. I also have to imagine that you've got a handful of clients that are your ideal client. That if you said, man, Eszylfie, if all my clients were like this person, I'd be at the top of the table with you. Okay? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to make a list of the top 20. And when you go home tonight, right? I want you to call them and tell them that. Right? Hey, Mr. Client, you know, I'm analyzing my book of business, right? In my practice the second half of the year. You know what I realized? I realized that I want every single client I have to look just like you. With the foresight to plan and the discipline to see it through the way you have. With the foresight to plan and the discipline to see it through the way you have. But Mr. Client, I need your help. I need your help. Who else do you know that's as smart and as disciplined and as successful as you that I should be speaking to? Who else do you know that's as smart and as successful and as disciplined as you that I should be speaking to? What I'm doing there, first thing is I'm edifying the client. They're like, I guess I'm pretty great, right? And the second and more important thing is I'm asking them for help. Because it's human nature. If you're able to help someone reasonably, you will do that, right? Now, the person that wrote a $50,000 annual premium hangs out with who? Another person that could do $50,000 annual premium. You see, rich people and poor people, broke people, they don't hang out. They can't, right? Rich person says, I want to go to steakhouse for dinner. Poor person was like, man, I was thinking Applebee's, right? It's not, they don't. So, right? So prospect up, right? And replicate your A's. Rinse, wash, and repeat, right? In a year's time, you will completely change your market, all right? So we're going to take a quick break here, come back with the second half. Appreciate your attention so far. Looking forward to continuing to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Eszylfie. We are not going to break here.
Thanks, Eszylfie. We are going to take a brief program break for the virtual attendance. We will reconvene in 10 minutes, so just sit tight and we'll see you in a bit. Thanks.
You want to sell $1,000 a month. You want to take 40% of their discretionary income. You better be good, really good, right? And be prepared for that policy to lapse in the first 6 months, right? I sit down with someone that makes 50 grand a month, right? 30,000 a month of expenses, 20,000 a month of discretionary income. I'll sell them a $50,000 annual over lunch, right? So that's the idea. And it sounds crazy enough, but right, unfortunately, we can't help people that can't write checks, right? So you have to prospect up. And a lot of people, I met a lady one time, I was doing a talk and she's like, I come from a pretty low income area in New York, and I'm going back to my community and I'm trying to empower them and teach them about the power of insurance and saving and investments. And that's all well and good. But she was like, but they're not listening and it's a struggle. She's like, what can I do? And I told her, stop selling there, right? Stop selling there, right? It's like when you fly in a plane, the TSA announcement comes on and the captain says, what? If there's a drop in cabin pressure and the oxygen mask comes on, what do they say to do? Put your mask on first and then help the person next to you. You see, if you cannot create a solid business, a sustainable business, right? You can't help anyone else. You won't be around, right? So this is my charge to her. Create a solid practice with consistent production. Then you could go back to the community center. You can go back and do financial literacy seminars and give of your time and resources. And you're not trying to make a livelihood in that market. Does that make sense? Right? So for me, I'm very philanthropic. I have my own nonprofit, Future Stars, as mentioned in my bio. I take a week every year and I do a basketball camp for kids. I pay myself nothing, right? I sit on the board of 4 other nonprofits. I take no compensation, right? Because I've created a practice, right, in a business that sustains me. And so when I'm giving my time to the community and to kids, I don't need anything. I'm not making a livelihood or expecting anything out of that, right? As we stand on the approach idea, I'm going to combine this idea of developing centers of influence and networking together, right? And I want you to live by this adage that I live by, and it's that givers get. Givers get, right? Now, a lot of us will go, man, Eszylfie, see, I want CPAs, right? I want attorneys. I'm going to get attorneys and CPAs just to give me business. How's that working out, right? So the adage of givers get. How do I develop relationships with centers of influence? How do I even develop relationships in networking settings, right? From now on, when you go to networking functions, when you're developing relationships with centers of influence, don't bring your cards. You don't need them anymore, right? Don't need them. Rather than walking up to people and saying, hey, my name's Eszylfie Taylor, and I do insurance and financial services. Take 50 of my cards and hand them to your friends and family, right? Don't do that anymore, right? On the contrary, I'm going to take time and say, hey, tell me about yourself. Tell me about your business. Who can I introduce you to? How can I help you grow your business? If you ask questions like that, you will find yourself in a category of 1, right? So the way that I develop relationships with CPAs and attorneys isn't because I say, hey, I'm great, send me your clients. It's because I feed them. I give them business, right? So for example, if I met someone in a networking function and said, hey, I'm a realtor, really? You know what? My client's looking to sell I'm going to connect you guys, right? Matter of fact, whether they actually get the listing or not, whether they sell the home or not is of little consequence. The fact that I tried to help them, right? They're going to look at me in a different light. Now, if he sells my client that house, right? Sells my client that house, I'm going to say, look, my client, he got you your offer accepted. That's awesome. Do you have a loan? No, I don't have a loan. I'm going to bring you my lender, right? And now when the escrow closes, you got this property, you should probably set up an estate plan. You need a trust to avoid probate. My estate planning attorney will take care of you. Now, you mentioned want to do some improvements. How about I bring you my general contractor to help you with the remodel, right? So when you think about it, right, I'm insulating my relationship with that client, and now I've got all of these people who are also edifying me. Oh, you work with Eszylfie, he's great, right? Because I can't really go up to a client like, I'm awesome, right? Right? You should trust me. But it helps when you get these third-party validations. So it goes one step further. Not only am I helping my client by bringing all these networking referral partners to the table, I'm also building goodwill in my community. You see, when I go back to that realtor and go, man, you sold my client that house, that big house on the hill, right? It's $1 million. That's awesome, right? Hey, we getting together next week to put in that pension plan or what? What are you going to tell me? No? The lender who did the loan, $1 million, a nice loan, huh? We putting that whole life policies on the kids, or are we doing that? Or what are you going to say? Right? The estate planning attorney. Are we doing that buy sale with you and your partner? Are we going to do that tomorrow or next week? What are we going to say? Right? So it's interesting. The more I give, the more I look to connect, the more I share, the more I get. Crazy concept, right? Givers get. Another reason I love not bringing my cards to events, it gives me an excuse to engage on a deeper level. Here's what I mean by that, right? You meet someone, oh, you're a banker, right? Oh, my clients need a private banker. You do business loans? That's awesome, man. Oh, Eszylfie, that's great. I'd love to connect. You have a card? You know what? I don't have a card, but let me just grab your cell phone real quick. I'll just, right? Right? Get the cell phone number. I'm past the gatekeeper, right? Get their cell phone number and I'm like, oh, actually I do have a card. There you go, right? Right? But I want to be in control of the sales process. You see, nobody cares about your business as much as you do. Nobody, right? So when I hand you my card, I'm putting my livelihood in your hands, right? And then what do? We just sit by our phone. Call me, right? Here's my contention. I believe that if I went to an event, networking event, right, and I handed out 100 of my business cards, I don't know that I would get one call. But I believe if I took 100 business cards, I'd write 50, 60 pieces of business. Again, right? Because people know they should play and they know, but they're not seeking us out. Right? So take take control there, right? So that's the approach. So personal observation, referral talk, and then developing centers of influence and networking, right? The lifeblood of my business. Next up, we have the fact find, the art of asking questions. Again, I gave you the language earlier. Starting it off with the client. Mr. Client, Mrs. Client, I want to identify where you are today. More importantly, figure out where you want to be in the future and develop an action plan to help you bridge that gap, right? So important. And many of us, again, sound simple enough, but we do not do it. Agents will come up to me, Eszylfie, can you help me work on this case, develop a solution? I'm like, okay, yeah. What's the client's income? I didn't get that. Okay, well, what are the expenses? I don't know. Well, what are the assets? Man, Eszylfie, you're good. And I'm like, no, it's not good, right? This is basic stuff. Stop selling products and look to solve problems, right? Stop. What would happen if you went into your doctor's office? You went in your doctor's office, right? Walk in the lobby and they go, hey, we're going to have surgery at 2 o'clock. You'd be like, what? Ask me any questions, right? Run any tests? You're just going to surgery, huh? Straight to it, right? And is that not what we do to our clients? Or better yet, we don't give them a singular solution, right? Because we have no idea where they're at, right? So we're just going to do 6 illustrations, right? And put 6 things in front of you because we're grasping at straws, hoping something sticks. So I do 6 illustrations and I put it in front of the client, right? Here you go. Here are your 6 options. Then you just close your eyes. Just pick one. Just any one of them is fine with me, please, right? Think about what you're doing to your client. Again, imagine you walked into your doctor's office and he goes, you've got a terminal illness. There's 6 surgeries that can save your life. Pick one. Right? You gotta pick a new doctor is what I pick. Right? Stop doing that. See, for me, I believe if you really drill down to what that person needs, right? Income, expenses, their risk tolerance, time horizon, there's typically a singular solution, maybe 2, but certainly not 6. Right? Guys, think about the position you're putting your client in. I'm gonna put 6 20-page pieces of paper in front of you and expect you to make a purchase decision on the spot. You're creating the issue. Right? You're elongating the sales process. Next up is the opportunity. Again, I do not have to be perfect. I just have to be better than what you have. So really identifying where are the frailties, where are the deficiencies in your plan, right? I gave you this question earlier, but I love with the core products that we offer with, annuities and insurance that offer guarantees. It's quite simple. I read a study for a retirement seminar that I was doing, and they polled all these retirees, right? And they asked them, right? What is the acceptable percentage of loss you're willing to take with your retirement portfolio? What is the acceptable percentage of loss you're willing to take? And 55% of respondents, the number one answer, guess what it was? 0. 0 is the acceptable percentage of loss. I mean, if I must lose money, 0 is the percentage I'll take, right? 55% of respondents, which probably isn't uncommon if you ask your clients the very same question. Yet when you look at their portfolios, right, there's a disconnect. People are saying, I don't want risk, yet you're all in equities. All your money is in your business. It's all in real estate. So again, powerful question. How much of your money do you not want to lose? You see, I don't want to manage all of your money, Mr. Client, Mrs. Client. I don't need to manage all your money. I just want the money you don't want to lose. Right? So when I was at New York Life, I was agent of the day one day, right? In my first year, I'm agent of the day, which basically means anytime somebody called in the office, the call got routed to me, right? So one day the phone rings, the guy calls, he says, hey, I need somebody to come up to my house and talk to me about life insurance. And I was like, what? Right? No one's ever called me and asked me about life insurance before. I'm like, this is great. I'm like, wait a minute, Tom, is that you? Right? So I drive up to this guy's house, right? I'm super excited. I'm a young kid. I'm like 23 years old. I sit down. I'm like, okay, well, how can I help you? Want life insurance? And he goes, I have these policies that need service. Put them in front of me, right? These policies were older than I was, right? So I'm like, okay. So I got my PhD in servicing policies, right? These policies had loans on them and issues, and I had to learn how to take dividends to repay the loan and premium. It was just a mess, right? So I'm doing this for a couple of years, and I think to myself, you know what? It's time for me to make some money, right? I'm servicing these guys' policies. I haven't made any money. I'm gonna make some money, right? So I do a big $50,000 annual premium illustration, and I go up to his house and put it in front of him. I go, look at that. Cash value, right? Death benefit's good, right? You want to do it? And he goes, Eszylfie, I own this apartment building free and clear. I've got $1 million in my pension plan. right? My kids are grown and out of the house, and I already own life insurance. I mean, do I really need more life insurance? And I said, I'm sorry, no, I guess you don't, right? And I left, right? Why? Because I went in selling a product, right? So I go back to servicing his policies. A few more years passed, and I realized that not only did he have issues with the policies I was servicing, he had issues with policies at other carriers as well. All had loans on them, and some of them were set to lapse and the like. So ultimately, you know what I did? I 1035 exchanged all of the cash value out of all those policies, and I put it all in an income annuity. And I used the income from the income annuity to buy one brand new policy with a no lapse guarantee on it. So when I go to deliver this policy, he says, okay, let me get this straight. He says, I have no more out-of-pocket premium payments to make. I said, nope. He said, I don't have to worry about making loan interest payments anymore. I said, nope. He said, I have more guaranteed death benefit through life expectancy than I had before. I said, yep. He said, Eszylfie, this is great. I said, I know. He said, I have one more question for you. I said, go ahead. He said, why didn't we do this before? Oops. Right. And my God-honest answer was, I'm just better now. That sale was staring me dead in the face for 5 years, and I never saw it, right? Now, I was fortunate enough to have made it in the business where I survived, and I was there and able to write the case, right? And he was fortunate enough that he remained healthy and the underwriting and the numbers made sense for him, right? But the funny thing is, it's a decent case for me. It's like a $30,000 case. The funny thing is that $30,000 would have meant a heck of a lot more 5 years prior than it did at the time, you know, when I wrote it. Because a lot of us are one deal away from being out of this business. I was working with a gentleman when I was in New York Life, and we drive up to a meeting, and before we get out, he taps me on the chest and goes, hey, I'm just letting you know, this is a joint work case. Just letting you know, if you don't close this case today, I have to leave the business. My wife's making me quit. And I was like, yeah, no pressure, right? So we go in, close the case, $30,000 commission. He gets his split, right? Today, he's a senior partner, right? So it's a crazy thing how that one case, and I'm sure many of you have stories like that, that one case was a catalyst for him to not only survive, but then, you know, thrive, you know, in the business, right? Last up, we have the close, the call to action. And here's my talk, my take. I believe if you do a great job building relationships with people, right, establishing trust and rapport, you identify again where they are, right? Where are you at today, Mr. Client? Where do you want to be, right? Bless you. Identify frailties, opportunity to add value, right? The close is a foregone conclusion. It's not a matter of if they're going to buy. It's a matter of how much and when, right? But it's following the process. You see, my friends, I am completely detached from the outcome. Completely detached from the outcome. I'm so dialed into the process. I believe full-heartedly, right, that if I do what I'm supposed to do on the forefront, I'll get the fruit on the back. Why? Because there's no way, guys, I'm booking anywhere from 25 to 30 meetings a week. And there's no way that I'm going to talk to 25 plus people a week and not have something good happen. I just don't think so, right? And I'm going to have better weeks than others, right? But that's it. I'm following this process. I believe in it, right? So I'm not worried about the outcome. I don't control that. I don't control who buys and when. The only thing I control is my activity, right? So I want you to focus on this idea, this concept of winning the day. Win the day. Write this down. Win the day. I want you to take the amount of money you want to make in the next year, whatever it is. What's your commission goal for the year? What's your revenue goal for the year? Whatever it is, okay? Then I want you to divide that number by 200, right? So whatever you want to make in the year rather, and divide that into 200, right? You're going to come up with a number. And that number, that's your daily number. That's the number. That's your win the day number, right? In my practice, right, I want to make $3 million. $3 million of revenue. That's my number. $3 million divided into 200, assuming I'm going to work 200 days a year. I'm going to take some weekends, maybe some vacations, some time off, but I'm going to work 200 days a year. So in my calculation, it's $15,000, right? So quite simply, I want 3 appointments a day minimum, with each one of the 3 being a potential 15K outcome or higher. That's my number. So for you, for example, if you said, hey, mine's 100,000 divided into 200, right? 200 divided into 100,000 is $500. You want to make $500 a day, right? So you would want 3 appointments a day with a potential $500 outcome with each appointment. Make sense? And the reason that's important to me is when you just focus on that big number, it's paralyzing, right? If I said, I want to make $3 billion, whew, right? Where do I start? It doesn't give me an action plan, right? So in my practice, I don't do annual plans. I don't do quarterly plans. I don't do monthly plans. I don't do weekly plans. I simply look to win the day. I want to make $15,000 a day. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Eszylfie, come, you make $15,000 every single day. And the God honest answer is no, I don't make $15,000 every day. Some days I make 100,000, right? And some days I make 20, some days I make 10, some days I make nothing. But the idea is 3 appointments a day, every day, with each one of the 3 being a potential 15K outcome, right? I always say, if you aim for the moon and you fall short, you'll still hit the stars. So if I don't hit my number, right? You sit a year from now, did you do it? Did you do it? Nah, I fell a little short. I didn't do 3 million. I did like 2.7. Right? Woe is me. Right? But it gives you something, right? Palatable, something that you can go after, something attainable on a daily basis. Make sense? So we're really looking to do 3 things. We want to increase productivity. You got to be out there, right? Nothing good, guys, comes from you sitting at home or in your office. Increase productivity. I have a question for you. Are you guys business owners or are you self-employed? You business owners or you self-employed? You're a business owner? If you didn't work for a year, what would happen to your income? If your answer is, what income? I wouldn't have income if I didn't work for a year. Then you are not a business owner. You are self-employed. Now look, there's nothing wrong with being self-employed, but a business runs in spite of you, not because of you. Right? So what do I mean by that? Every non-income generating activity, get off your plate. If you look at my practice, right? I've got a staff of 7, from VP of sales to marketing to processing to customer service to operations, right? I have a driver. I don't even drive myself to meetings. Right? You go, come on, Eszylfie, you don't drive? No, because for me to go from Pasadena to Beverly Hills in traffic could take over an hour. And you give me 1 extra hour on the phone and to respond to emails, I'm going to make a heck of a lot more than the $20 an hour I'm paying my driver. Saving money, guys, is not the same as making money. A business runs in spite of you, not because of you. So with all my travels throughout the world and talks and the multiple companies and things that I own, how am I able to maintain a top of the table practice? Because I stand before you today, right, talking, someone's still calling clients, someone's processing applications, someone's ordering exams. Again, a business runs in spite of you, not because of you. Consider this. How many hours are you working in the week? How many hours are you working in the day? You might, oh man, Eszylfie, you don't get, man, I'm putting in 10, 12-hour days. Wow, okay. How many of those 10 or 12 hours you spent working today were you actually with clients? 2? 3? Right? And this happened to me in my practice. When I was at New York Life, I made this chairman's council. I was top 100 in the company. Right? And as soon as that edict came down, I was bummed out. And my operations manager was like, what's wrong with you? You just made top 100 in the company, 13,000 advisors. You're in the top 100. What's wrong with you? And I said, I worked as hard as I could work this year. I didn't leave anything on the table. And I made this. And my ultimate goals are this. Right? So immediately I thought to myself, I've got to examine what I'm doing, right? I got to do something different. And as I started to look at my business, I realized I was making 80% of my money with 20% of my time. I was working the 10, 12, 14-hour days, but I was only with clients 3, 4. So what was I doing in all that other time? Non-income generating activities. So if you said to me, Eszylfie, can I work out of your office in LA for the day? I'd say, come on. If you said, well, I need to send some forms back to my office. Do you mind scanning this document for me? I would tell you I don't know how to scan. If you said, okay, well, can you help me? Can you fax it? I go, I don't know how to send a fax. All right, well, can you transfer me to your assistant and they do it? I don't know how to transfer calls. And if you say, come on, you don't know how to scan a document or fax or transfer calls? Nope, I don't get paid to do those things. I get paid to do one thing, and that's close, right? And even if you go, well, that only takes 5, 10, 20 minutes at a time. Okay. You see, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. Right? So every non-income generating activity, I want to get off my plate. Now some of you might go, come on, but if you do that, if I hire, don't I have to pay them? Yeah, you have to pay them, right? But saving money is not the same as making money. Saving money is not the same as making money. So do you want to save money or make money? So if my payroll is $25,000 a month and I make $200,000, is that a good return on investment? Right? So what would you rather do? Would you rather save $25,000 a month or make $200,000 a month? Right? And same adage could be given to your clients when you're talking about buying insurance or investing money, right? Do you want to save money or make money, right? If you do not buy this whole life policy, if you don't buy this, you'll save money, but will you make the most money? Saving money is not the same as making money. I tell people all the time, little money gets little money. Big money gets big money. Little money gets little money. Big money gets big money. If you want big money, you have to put away big money. Right? We want to increase case size. We want to write bigger deals, right? Now think about it. The exercise that I gave you. What does your family need on an annual basis to maintain their standard of living? Take that number and multiply it by 20. I guarantee you the majority of your book of business is underinsured. You can go back to the very people that already know, like, and trust you and then have already done business, right? That you sold a $500,000 policy to and they should have bought $1 million. Or you sold $1 million policy to that should have bought $2 million, right? You're already there. Just another zero on the app, right? Writing bigger cases. By a show of hands, how many people in the room feel comfortable taking a policy for $100 a month? How about $1,000 a month? How about $10,000 a month? Why do any of your hands drop? Is the application different? Paperwork different? Is the value proposition different? Same process. Remember what I spoke to earlier, belief conflict. If $1,000 a month is the number, then it's the number. If $10,000 a month is the number, it's the number, right? Why are your hands dropping? Do not confuse someone being successful with being a good planner. Two different things. On the contrary, some of the most successful people I've ever met have the worst planning, right? It's the pretty girl in high school syndrome. The prettiest girl in high school sat home a ton of Friday and Saturday nights because everyone assumed that she had a date. Just ask. I had my biggest month in the business, December 2016, my biggest month in the business. I did $1.3 million of commissions in 1 month. 900,000 of that came from one deal. Perfect storm. I had a client, huge liquidity event, sold off $100 million of one of their companies, right? They had $20 million of term insurance and the conversion option was expiring that month, right? So they're either going to do it at that point or lose the option forever. Right? I put $6 million in an annuity to fund a $490,000 annual premium. Pretty good case. Now, was I a better advisor the day after that case than the day before? Was I smarter? No, I'm the same guy, right? Just a couple more zeros on the check. Right? What if I told you that at some point in your career, you're going to have $1 million month? Some point in your career, you're going to have $1 million month. Would you stick it out in the business? Would you make it? And that fate is there for every single one of you, right? You just have to survive, right? That case opened up 6 years prior, joint work with another agent that didn't make it in the business. Sucks for him, right? Right? So we want to write the right case. Don't be afraid of the big number. Lastly, case rate. We want to see people, right? I'm not a well hunter, guys. I'm not a guy who makes top of the table doing, 5, 6 cases a year. Over 300 applications last year, right? So I'm seeing lots of people. I'm planting lots of seeds, right? So you want to be productive, right? Want to be productive, write the right number, bigger cases, and write a lot of them. We have to leave it to chance. Be courageous. I get it. I'm in the fire with you. Your wife doesn't get it. Your husband doesn't get it. Your friends, your family, kid, they don't get it. I get it. Fight the good fight. Be strong. You see, strength doesn't come from doing the things you know you can do. Strength comes from overcoming the things that you thought that you couldn't. H, hard work. Secret to my success, right? Eszylfie, what's the secret? What's the magic formula? I work real hard. Right? Nothing was given to me. Nothing was given to me. I took it. You see, in life, we're always waiting. I'm waiting to be given my chance. I can't wait till I'm given my chance. You see, you are not given chances. You take chances. You take them. A, aptitude. Aptitude. Always look to get better. Always look to improve. Always look to grow. In life, you are green or you are brown. You are growing or you are dying. Simple story. There's a young man and an old man in the forest, and they've got to chop down a tree for time, right? With a saw. Go. Young man sawing away, old man sawing away, right? A few minutes pass, the old man sits down, young man gets a little grin on his face. Old man's tired. Got him, right? A few minutes pass, the old man resumes. A few more minutes goes by, the old man sits down again, the grin on the young man's face gets even bigger. I got him, I'm winning this competition for sure. Old man's tired. A few more minutes pass, the old man resumes. A couple more minutes pass, and the old man's tree, boom, falls down. And the young man is like, what? So he goes over to the old man and says, how did you do that? I mean, I'm over here sawing away tirelessly, right? And every time I look at you, you're sitting down. And he said, I wasn't sitting down, son. I was sharpening my saw. And that reference has been made a few times today. Sharpen your saw, be better. You see, some of your counterparts couldn't be here today because they were too busy writing $50 a month term policies that are going to lapse, right? So they couldn't be here. They were busy, right? But you're here. You're getting better. In my time with $1 Million Roundtable, I've had the honor of serving on some committees. And I saw this study one time. It was interesting to me. MDRT agents are making about $100,000 a year. You got quarter of the table agents that make about $500,000 a year. And top of the table making $1 million plus, right? And they did a study. How many hours a week do these people work? Who do you think works the most hours in a week? MDRT, quarter of the table, or top of the table? What do you think? The study showed that MDRT agents work more hours in a week than quarter of the table agents work, than top of the table agents work, right? So we want to work smarter, not just harder, right? And no excuses. Because I know what some of you are sitting there, oh, but Eszylfie, see, you don't understand, right? My spouse, my company, my manager, my underwriting, right? My kids, right? Let me give you a glimpse of my life, right? President, founder, Taylor Insurance and Financial Services, my retail practice. President, Taylor Brokerage, my brokerage general agency. President, founder, Taylor Method, my sales training company. I'm an author, came out with a book called Ask the Experts. Get a copy on Amazon, right? I got a radio show on Dash Talk Radio Wednesday nights called Ask the Experts, spreading financial literacy. I have my own nonprofit, Future Stars. I do a basketball camp every year for kids. I sit on the board of 4 others. I'm a yoga teacher, do yoga every day. Namaste. I've got 3 kids, right? 12 and twins that are 9. What's your excuse? You see, people are going to do the things, right, that are important to them, right, that they make a priority, right? No excuses. Just get it done. Like I said in the commercial at the onset, I do not want to leave this earth thinking, what if? I do not want to leave this earth thinking to myself, what if I tried that or did that? I want to fail so miserably. On my deathbed, I want people to come in and say, hey, this guy did it. And that doesn't mean that I'm gonna make it. Like I said in the very beginning, I'm a huge failure, guys. Huge failure. Right? And that's okay, because that's why I succeed. C, character. Your character has to be beyond reproach. People are buying you. Have you not realized it? Have you ever sat with a client? You've literally done business, you filled out an application, and they pull out a check, and they're writing the check, and they ask you, who do I make the check payable to? That lets you know they bought you. I was coaching a gentleman out of Wisconsin, and in our call, I had this epiphany. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, if you really consider the amount of trust and belief our clients have to have in us, right? We take 20, 30, 40 years of people's life savings, our hard-earned money, right? And we manage that. And in exchange for that, in exchange for their life savings, we give them a piece of paper. It's kind of funny if you think about it, right? Your character has to be beyond reproach. People are buying you, that connection. E, Expectation. Expect people to see you. Expect them to open up during the fact-finding process. Expect them to buy. You see, if you don't believe it, they're not going to believe it. At the onset, what did I tell you? It's the best day of my life. I say that every single day to every single person I meet because I'm manifesting positivity, right? Crazy thing about my foot, right? The night before this happened, I was having dinner with a friend of mine. She's a physical therapist for athletes. And we're walking in the car after dinner, and she says, you know you're like in the prime age to tear your Achilles, right? She says that to me the night before. The next day I'm playing, and I was thinking about it while I was playing, and then boom, right? I was making breakfast for my daughters, right? One morning, and I had this big bowl of berries that I chopped up, and it's on the counter, and I'm taking it to the fridge, and I'm carrying this bowl, and I'm like, this is going to drop, this is going to drop, this is going to drop, and then it just dropped, right? And then I'm thinking, I'm like, did that really happen, or did I manifest that? Have you not realized in life when things are going good, they kind of go really good, right? You're doing deals, and you're like, oh, man, this is good, right? People follow me, right? It's good. And then maybe something falls apart, and then you think, man, if that happened, then I'll probably lose that, and then what will happen, and then that won't come, right? And so when things are good, they're kind of really good, and when they're bad, they're kind of really bad, right? So that's charge, right? Expectation, your mindset, your belief, right? Those that think they can do something and those that think they cannot do something are both usually right. Don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. You never know how close you are to your goals. Every single client meeting you have is like scratching a lotto ticket. And sometimes you scratch a lotto ticket and it's a bust, you didn't throw it away. Every now and again, you scratch a lotto ticket, you win a few bucks, it's cool, put it in your pocket. And one day you scratch a lotto ticket and you hit the jackpot, right? And it's happened. Have you not come to the office one day and there's a buzz going on, right? And you're like, what's going on, right? You're like, man, did you hear about Joe? Like, oh, what happened with Joe? Joe wrote that big case. Big case, yeah, $100,000 commission. Wait, wow, Joe. Hey, Joe down the hall, Joe with the breath in the body. Joe wrote that case? Like, yeah, right? Scratch a lotto tickets, guys. Here's the thing. None of us are getting out of here alive. Everyone has to plan for the future at some point, right? People want to retire, have some semblance of financial security. So every single living, breathing person is a prospective client for you. We are uniquely positioned. Success is at your fingertips. You just need to reach out and grab it. Again, you will not be given a chance. Stop waiting for it. You will not be given a chance. You take chances, guys. You take them. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So if you keep prospecting the way you're prospecting, going through your sales meetings the way you're going through them, going for the close the way you're going for it, you think your business will change, right? If you do, what are you? Insane. You said it, right? You must do something different. If 10 years from now, I told you your business would be in the exact same place it is today, would you be satisfied? Would you be happy? If your answer is no, then why are you afraid to change? Why are you afraid to change? Is it one day? Is it one day or day one? You decide. Is it one day or day one? You decide. What are you waiting for? Taylor method. Everything I say, everything I do, videos, audio series, ebook, all online, right? I coach a guy out of Florida, and he called me one day rather and told me, man, I closed the biggest case of my career, over $100,000 in commission, man. Use your language, man. It's so awesome. I said, man, that's great. Right? A few months later, I was in Florida at a conference speaking, and he came up to me. He's like, oh, I want to introduce you to my wife. She's here. And I said, hi. And I said, hi. And she said, I know who you are. She goes, I hear your voice every day. I wake up in the morning, he's listening to you. Driving to work, he's listening to you, right? Right? Again, I think by my estimation, guys, I think I've done something like 20,000 client meetings in my career, 20,000, right? So every question, every objection you could hear, I've heard, right? Have you noticed my entire time on stage today, I have not mentioned one product and one carrier? It's about language, it's about connectivity, right? And purpose. Right? So in these last moments here, I want to open up the floor. I've talked at you for this throughout this session thus far, but does anyone have any questions for me? Could be about any of the things that I've shared thus far, or my practice, clients, objections, anything. I'll look for someone to try and stump me. That'd be good. Any questions? Don't be shy. Question, Ryan.
Eszylfie, what was the greatest, most difficult objection, client objection you had to overcome, and how did you overcome it?
The greatest, so over the course of my career, I've faced different challenges. Today it's a little different. The biggest obstacle, I guess, for me today is just managing my time. Managing my time and looking to grow and be better. That's it. It was hard for me in the beginning because I was young. I was 22 years old when I started in this business. And so, like, if you look at me now, I'm 30-11 now, right? You do the math. So that'll sink in later. But imagine what I looked like when I was 22. I looked like I was 15 years old, right? And now this kid is going to tell people, right, how to protect their business and accumulate money for the future. But see, we are solving what I call a drowning man's issue. Drowning man's issue. And what I mean by that is, if you were in an ocean, in a boat, right? You're in the ocean, in a boat, and your boat tipped over, and you're flailing around in the ocean trying to survive, right? And I came by in a lifeboat with a life preserver. Do you care if that life preserver is yellow, purple, green, blue? Do you care if I was 21, 25, 35, 85? Nope. You just need it. And that's the very position that we're in. So I look at making my weakness, or at least perceived weakness, my strength. So in my youth, I would tell people, you want me to be young, right? You want me to be young because I will be here during your accumulation years. I will be here during your distribution years, and I will be here to pass this money on to your heirs, right? Now, as I get older in my career, then I'll flip that, right? You want me to have experience. You want me to be like, right? You want some kid, right? So again, it's dealing with the cards that see, we're all dealt a hand. Some of us have better positions starting out than others, right? But it's about how you play it, right? Any other questions? Questions, sir? Yeah, so the question is basically, I'm given this need-based sale, right? This human capital number of taking the amount of money someone needs today, right, to replace their income and multiplying that number by 20. But to his point, hey, but when that person's 60, 65 years old, if the mortgage is paid off and the kids are out of the house, do they really need that coverage still? Yes. Here's my point. The reasons why your widow might need the money at age 40, 45 will most certainly be different at 65, but will they still not need the income? And here's what I mean by that. If I die tomorrow, right, and my wife says, okay, I have this money to be able to get the kids through school, pay off the mortgage, and she did it. She's 65 now, kids are well off on their own, mortgage is paid off. She's also been out of the workforce for 20 years. So that income will still need to be there, right, to maintain the standard of living and cover expenses, right? I've never worked with someone that tells me, man, Eszylfie, man, you made me save too much, right? That's a great problem to have. Yep. Yeah, so what you're referencing is what I call offsets. For example, assuming someone needs $100,000 a year of income and they had a rental property that was creating $40,000 a year of income. Well, then I might say, look, I don't need to replace the whole 100, right? I only need to create replace the 60. So I don't need to sell you $2 million of insurance, right? If 60,000 is the shortfall, I only need 1.2 million, right? Because 5% on 1.2 million, 60,000, right? So I can adjust accordingly. Interestingly enough, I didn't get too much into it, but I used the same calculation for my greed-based calculation. Ask your clients, do you have any idea how much money you need to have saved to retire comfortably? Your average client will say, I have no idea. So I use the same calculation with a twist. Ask them, if I were going to retire you in today's dollars, how much income do you need coming to you? And they're going to give you a number, right? I could get by on 100,000. If I had $100,000 a year, I'd be comfortable, right? There's this pesky thing called inflation. Cost of goods and services is going up in time. So if I'm 41 years old and I want to retire at 65, right? Interestingly enough, at a 3% inflation rate, the value of our money is chopped in half every 24 years. You know that, right? So if I want $100,000 in today's dollars, what am I really saying I want at 65? 200,000, right? My purchasing power is chopped in half, so I need to double my objective. So here's the number. Here's how you figure it out. For you younger advisors, or if you're dealing with clients that are, 40 years or younger, you got to basically double their number today, right? If your clients are closer to retirement, then the impact of inflation isn't going to be as great. But based on this example, for me, right, if I want $100,000 in today's dollars, right, that's really saying I want $200,000 after inflation. So my target savings number should be what? 4 million, right? So take what you want today's dollars, double it, 200,000, then multiply by 20. That's $4 million. Again, with the idea being a 5% payout rate on $4 million generates $200,000 a year of income. Right? And that's the idea. And then to your point again, if there's some real estate holdings or some other assets that are going to provide income, pensions, again, I can adjust and calculate those offsets, but that's the number. And it's important that we identify that number. And here's why. Because your clients are walking into your office and they're sitting down with $250,000 in their brokerage account with their chest puffed out. I got $250,000. What can you do for me? And we oblige. Well, you will see that if you look here, our company's financial strength is impeccable. Stop. Right? Stop. I can appreciate the fact that you've got $250,000 in your brokerage account. Wow, and you have $100,000 in your 401k, and your employer matches. That's awesome. But let me ask you a question. Do you think your savings and contributions to those savings are going to get you to $4 million in the next 20 years? And a reasonable person with that sum of money and that income objective would have to tell you what at that point? No. Do you think you should be saving more? Yes. Great. Let's get started. I do not have to be perfect. I just have to be better than what you have. So it's important to go through that calculation with your clients, because just like I believe most people are underinsured, I believe most people are ill-equipped, do not have adequate savings for retirement. If you aim at nothing, you will hit it with amazing accuracy. If you aim at nothing, you will hit it with amazing accuracy. You see, Mr. Klein, it's not enough to have a brokerage account. It's not enough to invest in your 401k. It's not enough to have real estate. And that's great that you have those things, right? But what are those assets going to provide in relationship to your ultimate goals? Make sense? And again, I don't want to change these things that are working for you. Like I said, I will never undo any of the good work that you've done, right? I only want to fill the gaps. I only want to cover the shortfall. How's that sound to you? Okay, great. Let's get started. You seeing a common theme here? I got each one of you right now ready to write a check for your retirement savings. I still haven't mentioned the product, right? Because it's the ideas, right? It's the concepts that move people, right? Not products. Questions? Question.
How do you overcome the Debbie Downers when your clients are Susie Orman says, Dave Ramsey said, term life. ICPA said, insurance is for protection, investments are for investment.
Sure. So how do I overcome the Debbie Downers of the world, the Susie Ormans or the Dave Ramsey say, buy term and invest the difference, right? Let's look at the numbers, right? I think LIMRA's study shows that only 1 out of 3 people actually invest the difference. 1 out of 3, right? But let's assume for one moment you're the 1 out of the 3. That also assumes, right, that your investments actually do well. Remember earlier where I talked about tax equivalent yield, right? Tax equivalent yield. And I can get a tax equivalent yield 4 or 5% in a life insurance contract, or net return rather. So my tax equivalent yield will be what, 8, 10%, depending on your tax bracket. So let me ask you a question, right? What if 8% end up being the return of the worst performing asset class in your portfolio, right? Would that be so bad? You see, Mr. Client, I want to take the what ifs and the should be's and maybes out of the equation. So here's a powerful question I'm going to ask my client, the Debbie Downer. As you're planning, right, for your future, for your retirement, do you want a predictable outcome or a probable one? Do you want a predictable outcome or a probable one? To that end, in this retirement study, I'll share this with anyone who wants to reach out to me, email me, I'll share this with you. There's something called sustainable withdrawal rate. You know what that is? Sustainable withdrawal rate means if I have a sum of money, right, what percentage of that can I take out every single year and not run out of money, right? So the study that I saw had a 60-40 blend, 60% equities, 40% fixed income. 60% equities, 40% fixed income, right? And they asked a group of retirees, what percentage of this portfolio do you think you can draw out for life and not run out of money, right? The number one answer given was 4%. Second highest answer was 6%. And the third highest answer was 10%, right? 82% of people have an unrealistic expectation of what they can draw, right? Has it not happened to you? A client comes in like, I did it, saved $1 million in my 401k, right? And don't worry, Eszylfie, I only need $100,000 a year in retirement. I'm on easy street, right? Not sustainable. What this study showed, you know, it's interesting, right? At a 3.4% withdrawal rate, there's a 50% chance that you will run out of money in retirement at a 60-40 blend, 60% equities, 40% income. At a 3.4 withdrawal rate, there's a 50% chance you will run out of money. So here's what I thought about, right? I live in Los Angeles, right? So as I think about it, imagine when I'm flying from LA, Los Angeles, to Fargo, North Dakota, right? And I imagine the pilot getting on the loudspeaker and saying, hey, we're flying from LA to Fargo, right? And there's about a 50% chance we'll make it, right? Would I stay on that flight? Would you stay on that flight? No, right? 50% chance, not good enough for me. Yet our clients are relying on their equity portfolio alone in retirement. Now, if there's a 50% failure rate, that also means there's a 50% chance what? It could work. So here's my question for you, Mr. Client. Do you want a predictable outcome or a probable one? Now remember, that was a 50% failure rate at 3.4. There's a slew, all the guys here representing insurance companies have these products for us, of insurance products with 5% plus guaranteed payout rates for life. So if there's a 50% payout rate, 50% failure rate rather at 3.4, and we can offer products at 5 plus with the 100% success rate, would it not make sense, Mr. Client, Mrs. Client, to have some of that in your portfolio? I don't want all of your money. I really don't. I only want the money you don't want to lose. I only want to manage the income that you want guaranteed for life. How's that sound to you? Because I'll tell you what, if you're a broker, right, or your banker who says insurance is insurance and investments are investments, if you run out of money, right, if they're going to sign over their mortgage to you, right, give you their equity or fund your retirement, by all means, listen to them. Have them put that in writing, because I will. I'll put in writing a guarantee to you. If they're willing to do the same, I will never bring this up again. Be bold. Here's the thing, right? People say, come on, how can that be? Why? Because the insurance companies, guys, have millions of insureds and billions of dollars to spread the risk over. You, Mr. Client, you, Mrs. Client, cannot afford to be wrong. Any other questions? Don't be bashful. Now's your chance. Question, sir. My favorite method of introduction when I meet new people in business. Again, this idea of givers get, right? So I don't meet people and go, hi, I'm Eszylfie Taylor. Let me tell you about my practice. I do insurance, investments, estate plan. I don't do that. I want to know about their business. I want to ask them questions about their business. What kind of line of work are you in? Tell me about your industry. How's business going, right? How can I help you grow your business? Who can I introduce you to? That's those, and even the most hedonistic person, even the most arrogant person in the world, at some point, after you ask them so many questions about themselves, at some point they're going to go, what do you do? How can I help you? Right? Human nature. So I really want to know. I mean, you hear that phrase a lot of times, you hear elevator talk, right? What's your elevator talk? What do you say? First, I'm going to say, how many floors do I have, right? If we're on the first floor and they press 3, I got to be quick, right? Right? If they're on the first floor and they press 20, I got a little time. But I'll tell you my trick. I'll tell you what I do there, right? When they press whatever floor they press, I do not talk about myself. Because I know I've got seconds, literally, right? When they press a floor, my question is, what's on the 7th floor? And no matter what they say, I have a client that needs that. You're an accounting firm? I got a client that needs that, right? Can I grab your card? Or I'm on the 2nd floor. How about I pop up after lunch and come grab your card? It makes sense? Because what's probably not going to work is they press 7. Let me tell you about insurance and financial services. You want like guarantees of income? No. Dang. Okay, I'll see you maybe later. Bye. Right? I'm going to make it about them. I'm going to make it about driving business. I'll ask you. I'll put in the shoes on the other foot. If you were in an elevator and somebody said, what do you do for a living? You go, man, financial advisor. And they go, man, I want to send you clients. Would you go, come on, leave me alone. You'd be like, really? You want to do lunch? Givers get. Givers get. Any other questions?
Given us a lot of tools today to grow a business, but what's your next step when you decide to step away when you're getting 30, 20?
Yeah. I've given a lot of tools to help you grow your businesses, but what's the next step for me, right? When I get to the next stage in life, I'm driven by one thing today. And the one word that drives me today is impact. Impact. I don't know if you guys are familiar or heard of the happiness quotient before, right? The happiness quotient, I believe the number is like $73,000. And simply, once you're making over that sum of money, you can afford the essentials, right? Food, clothing, shelter, transportation. So once you're making more than that sum of money, making more money doesn't make you happier. Yes, you can maybe buy a nicer house or drive a nicer car, wear nicer clothes, but it's not going to make you happier, right? So for me, by what I say by impact is like, it's not only the impact that I've had in my clients' lives and my community. I'm here in Fargo, North Dakota right now, right? And there's people listening to me all over the country. And some of you are going to take my language, you're going to take my process, and you're going to implement it into your practice. And you're going to write insurance, and you're going to manage money, and you're going to sell long-term care, and you're going to mitigate tax liability for people that I would have never met. People, quite frankly, that may never know my name, right? And I'm okay with that, right? There's no ego. I've got enough plaques and trophies. I'm good. For me, today, it's about impact and the reverberation, right? And one day, right, as you grow your practice and you're top of the table and you affect change in your community, there's going to be somebody that looks at you and wants to emulate you, right? And if I had any small part of that, right, that's why I'm here. There's not a check you could give me to get me to stop. If you gave me $100 million right now, I'd be at work on Friday, right? Now, for me, the next progression logically for me is to become a billionaire, right? I mean, that's kind of where I'm headed, right? Now, some of you might go, come on, this guy, that billion. Why? Why can I not make $1 billion? I made $52,000 my first year. I did $3.2 million in revenue last year. That's a pretty good jump, right? So why can't I go from 30 million to 50 million? Or 50 million to $500 million? And while I'm at it, might as well just do $1 billion, right? It's this that limits us. It's this that stops us, right? Now, how can I do that? I'm not going to become a billionaire selling, right, life insurance to single moms, right? It's going to change. And so the next progression for me, again, is to continue to scale what I'm doing. right? Grow and build something again that runs in spite of me, not because of me. Because I'm a work in progress too, guys. By no means am I a finished product. I'm still looking to grow. I'm in the same boat as you. I'm looking to grow and have these, same challenges, you have, right? But have you not seen it in your respective lives and with your clients, right? It's not the smartest people that make the most money, right? There's plenty of super, super smart people out there that make 30 grand a year, right? And I'm sure you've been around lots of wealthy people, super successful people, at least monetarily, that you're like, wow, really? Wow, right? Right? So for me, if I can make a lot of money, right? Awesome. But more importantly, impact change with that money, that's that next thing for me, right? That's what I'm looking for. Any other questions? Yes. Yeah, so in this tailor method system, as you could tell, it's carrier agnostic, it's product agnostic. I never tell people what to sell. There's plenty of great companies and plenty of great products out there. You sell to your clients what you think's best. My coaching, I think we have over 1,500 people on the tailor method right now that subscribe to it throughout the country. My personal coaching, I usually will coach maybe 20, 25 people, at a time, and that kind of, rotates. My goal, I believe, is everyone made to be a top of the table producer? I don't know. I don't know that everyone's made to necessarily be $1 million producer, but I believe everybody can be better. Here's my take on coaching and this whole process. There was a point in my career where I thought if you weren't as ambitious as me, if you didn't want to be top of the table, multi-million-dollar producer, you were missing the boat, right? You were lazy, right? And there was one lady in particular that I met early in my career. She worked 3 months, took a month off to be with her family and grandkids. Then worked 3 months, took a month off. And I remember looking at that early on. I was like, man, if this lady would just stop taking so many vacations, right, she could be even a higher producer. And today I look at it and I'm like, wow, if that's the lifestyle she wants to live and this business affords her that, awesome, kudos to her, right? So to each his own. So I'm not up here saying everybody needs to be Eszylfie Taylor and want to be a billionaire. No, everyone should be their best form of themselves, best version of themselves. So whatever that means, right, for you. So whether that's making 100 grand a year or 100,000 a week, whatever that means, right? So that's where my coaching comes in, right? But I didn't have what I was missing when I started in this business. There was no how-to manual, right? There was no how-to manual. Like I saw publications with multi-million-dollar producers, and I saw people around me that were, but no one said, say this, then do this, then go here, and don't do that, right? And so for me, that's what was the impetus of this method, right? It was like, let me share with my peers. Let me share with the people who are coming behind me, right? Maybe even people who've been doing it longer than I have, the things that I've learned, right? And again, as long as I have breath in my body, I'll continue that mission. So again, I really appreciate you guys today here in the audience and those watching it at home or in your office. I've been a NAIFA member my entire career, 19 years. I applaud this organization. If you do nothing else, I think, like for me, I'm not the guy on the Hill. I'm not the guy lobbying with the senators and politicians, but I'm the guy who religiously pays my dues every month, right, to fund those that are, right? So I applaud you for being members of this wonderful organization. Wish you all the best of luck moving forward, and thank you for your time.
Great job. Great job. We have a thank you for you for inspiring us today, for showing us